About 10 years ago, some friends of mine took me to a disturbing, R-rated, violent movie called The Fight Club. The narrator was a lonely, discouraged young man named Chuck, played by Ed Norton. Chuck meets up with this seemingly deranged man named Tyler, played by Brad Pitt. There's a scene where Tyler, with Chuck following behind him, has broken into a convenience store and dragged the sole clerk out into the alley where he's holding a gun to the young man's head. With his other hand, he's flipping through his wallet. He sees, "Oh, I see your name is Raymond." And with his gun right at the guy's head, he says, "Raymond, you are going to die." And then he finds another card. It's an expired ID for a community college. "Raymond, you used to go to school. Why'd you quit, Raymond? Was it too hard for you? Did you have to work too hard?" He says, "Raymond, you are going to die." He says, "Now, Raymond, I tell you what. You go back to school, Raymond, because if not, I will kill you." "What did you want to be, Raymond? What did you want to be?" Well, the poor man is so terrified he can just whimper. He can't even say anything. "Raymond, what did you want to be?" So Chuck says, "Raymond, tell him." He says, "Veterinarian. You wanted to be a veterinarian? Well, you go back, Raymond. You go back and you study, or else I will kill you." He said, "Raymond, I'm going to keep your ID. And 6 weeks from now, I'll hunt you down. And if you've gone back to school, all right, but if not, Raymond, I will kill you. Now go, Raymond, go." And the man runs away weeping and sobbing. Chuck says, "Tyler, that wasn't funny." And he's yelling at him. He says, "What were you doing? That was horrible." And Tyler says, "Tomorrow will be the most beautiful day of his life. His breakfast will taste better than any meal you and I have ever had." Today's Advent readings are just that tough, just that unsettling. Advent today holds a gun to our heads and says, "You will die." The gospel says 2 people will be out working in the field, 1 will die. 2 women will be working side by side, 1 will die. They're stark and challenging. And then the first reading tells us we can't settle. That there's a dream in the heart of God that we have to work at while we have the chance. That God wants a city set on a hill where all the nations streaming towards it, a kingdom of justice, of care for the poor, where swords are beaten into plowshares, and we've got to work for that, and we can't settle. In some ways, it's as if Advent holds a gun to our heads this day and says, do something with your life now before you die. The temptation is instead just to settle, to take the path of least resistance, to accommodate too easily, just to make the pain of being human go away. And we get emotionally and spiritually lazy. How easy it is to settle for easy answers, because gray and complicated answers are just too much work. How easy it is to just settle on a relationship rather than just be lonely or find somebody that helps keep us growing. A young man once asked me about the woman he had been dating for a while. "Do you think I'm settling?" I said, "What do you think?" And I knew that he thought that he was. Rather than find someone to walk his life path with who would challenge him to grow and to be a better person, he just wanted to have somebody just to fill the emptiness. It's so easy to settle with our faith. "Oh, I don't make me think this is just fine the way it is. I don't want to have to stretch or grow in any way. I want things to be the way I was when I was in 3rd grade." Well, you know, I'm not in 3rd grade anymore. And so it is with us as a parish. And this past week, we had a wonderful parish mission. I looked out at the 800 or so people who came every night. hungry enough to be unsettled, to want to keep growing. And Father Gilo, who gave our mission, travels around the country, and he was very impressed with us, and I think that's awesome. He loved the beauty of our facilities, the energy and spirit of our liturgies, the leadership of our staff, and the involvement of our community and our welcoming spirit. But he was here because we can't settle. And he would say that he saw areas to invite us to keep growing because we've got to be truly alive. We want to tend to settle with how things are in this world. But Advent's first reading won't let us. It says, we've got to work for a world where our swords are beaten into plowshares. We've got to work for a world that cares for the lowly, the unborn, the imprisoned, the immigrant, the frightened. But it's so hard to fight that because we'll never see the fullness. And so we just want to settle. And we like to settle with how things are in our own moral life. I've worked enough. Or now it's time to retire. I did all that work in my previous parish. I'll let somebody else do it now. Really? Advent won't let us settle. It says you got to keep growing, huh? We tend to want to settle for small conversations instead of depth. In all kinds of ways we want to settle. But our faith says, no, come deeper, grow. Years ago, I think it was 12, I read a study about how much time the average American will spend in their life watching TV. What do you think the answer was? And I'll bet the number is higher now. The study concluded that the average American will spend 11 years of their life watching TV. And Advent says, wake up. You want to settle for that? You missed the life that I invite of you. Henry David Thoreau said, most people live lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with the song still in them. My brothers and sisters, when I say we can't settle, I'm not saying that we shouldn't enjoy the simple blessings of our lives, because we need to. I'm not encouraging us to become perfectionists. We have to live with the reality of the fact that we will always have limitations. We have to live with accept reality as it is in all ways. I'd like to think I could still be some kind of decent athlete, but I will never have the knees I had when I was 24. It's just not going to happen. We have to live with reality, but we also have to keep growing. And I was inspired by one of our second graders this year at Assumption School. There's a paper they filled out called, I Have Plans for the Future. And it had them look ahead to all kinds of things. And one question was, when I am 25, I hope, and they're to fill it in. And he said, when I am 25, I hope I am a professional baseball player. He's a good little athlete. He'll probably give it a try. But then it said, when I am in 6th grade, I hope, ... And he answered that one, when I am in 6th grade, I hope I am a good kid. I love that. Maybe he won't reach the dream of being a professional athlete. I don't know. But to be a good kid is within his power. Because we are all given what we need to do the work to grow. And brothers and sisters, I'm not saying that we will accomplish every dream. But I am saying we've got to keep growing in our marriages. We've got to keep growing in our relationships. We've got to keep growing in our relationship with God. We can't just settle. Even with the season of Advent itself, how quickly we just settle for why? Okay, time to buy stuff and okay, plan for Christmas and remember Uncle Charlie will be drunk again this year, so we got to do this and what? Wake up. It doesn't have to be this way. We can't just settle. There is a deeper life that God wants for us. At one point in the movie, Chuck says, I just don't want to die without a few scars. I'm not saying go rent the movie, but its characters make this point. We too quickly settle instead of living the life that God wants for us. And at one point, Chuck says to Tyler, in words that could almost be changed to become a prayer for us addressed to God, though he addresses them to Tyler. He says, Tyler, may I never be complete. May I never be content. May I never be perfect. Deliver me, Tyler, from being perfect and complete. How about you? Are you settled or unsettled? Because, boys and girls, I think we probably should check on Big Al and see how he is today. Well, hello, buddy. How are you? Not so good. What's the matter? But it wasn't pretty, was it? Yeah, it's a little discouraging. But you know, Big Al, nobody can win every game, and sometimes you just do your best. Somebody stayed up a little bit past their bedtime, didn't they? Tired, okay. Well, Big Al, besides watching the game last night, what else did you do yesterday? TV. Oh, you watched more TV? Okay, how much did you watch? All day. All day, okay. Big Al, that's not so good. That's great. No, that's not great. No, Big Al, see, we got to get away from screens sometimes so we can see real life. It's easy to sit in front of a TV, then you don't have to think or relate to people. I love it. You might love it. But it's not the way of Jesus, Big Al. So, Big Al, for example, you know what season we've begun? Advent. Advent, you're right. And Advent is to get us ready for Christmas. Christmas? Well, partially, but more than that. What? Advent is to get us ready to die. We're to remember that there's a bigger world, Big Al, than just our own comfort and our own living. And even Christmas is meant to help us dream the same dream God had for this world. Whoa. So what do you think, Big Al? Go Blues. Go Blues. I guess there's always somebody to cheer for. And boys and girls, it's okay if you watch a little TV, or spend a little time in front of a computer maybe. But we have to be careful that we don't forget to really live and love the people around us and to see the people in the world who need us. And may this Advent time help open all of our eyes. I pray that none of us will settle